I'm gonna say Modern Warfare 2. Not because it's bad. Not because it's bad.
There's some people back there who's like, yeah! You might have the overrated one.
Overrated.
I think they agree with you.
Right.
Wow, a lot of people agree.
All right, I guess I have to qualify it. Right. No, I mean...
Family friendly? Oh!
I told you it's already commoditized, so it doesn't matter.
We looked at $15 we were going to earn off of this. This is Australia, though. Cursing's fine. Right? I'm sorry. Cursing fine, or is it the fact that like YouTube systems don't understand what like the curse words technically are?
Oh, yeah, see? Yeah, it was a pause.
Just punctuating.
There are some game developers that find a way to just reach in and like flick the human mind in just the right way, and there's a talent behind that. Blizzard's very good about just the lights and sounds, something that's very slot machine to the point where there are like rollers rolling numbers on the screen. And Modern Warfare 2 is that kind of game. If you break down the mechanics, it's kind of weird what's going on. It's kind of like poker. Like half the game, you don't know what's going on. It's very random. People spawn behind you to the side of you. Your guns just spraying everywhere. I'm also bad at COD, but
yeah, maybe you need to get good.
I'm gonna put this out there. You can only get so good at COD.
That's a toxic attitude, MatPat.
The next thing you know, you're going to be saying that Dark Souls sucks, right? What? Like Devil's End, man. Someone's going to like take the stream of it, like, because everyone's filming this right now. They're going to take it, they're going to edit out these sections. And
You're giving me YouTube Gold right now.
Yeah.
MatPat yelled at me.
Yeah. Let's get right into the news. Today, MatPat and Funhaus are on the sounds. By the way, PewDiePie and Jake Paul are still a thing. Face got slapped in the face by something or other.
You ever just say names of like YouTubers and then like think about this is probably the same thing a crazy hobo probably uttered in the streets, like doesn't have YouTube. It's like some guy just walking out there PewDiePie face.
I once had a guy.
No, I've never had that thought, honestly.
A dude cornered me when I was working at Best Buy and looked me in the eye and told with sincerity that the U.S. government stole his idea for 7-Eleven. But I can probably make a pretty sweet YouTube video out of that. Come up with a new content strategy, my friend.
Slurpees for all mine.
Anyway, I think I got through my selections pretty cleanly, so thank you. I think we're not rushing the stage.
I guess like some of my favorite games that touch my heart of all time are Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Secret of Mana. Alright, see me after the show. And one of my favorite games I played this year was What Remains of Edith Finch. I thought it was really awesome. And I guess for like most overrated, maybe Last of Us.
Down your chair! Down your chair! Get wild out here, guys. Care to explain?
I just heard, I'm so disappointed.
I was too when I played The Last of Us.
I love the new Tomb Raiders too.
There you go. Yeah.
Second, moving on up. I'll leave the panel now.
I kind of have a tie. I love Psychonauts. I think But I think Psychonauts probably wouldn't exist without Super Mario 64. Changed everything, turned everything on its head. Most overrated game, she already said The Last of Us, which is probably going to be my choice. It's a movie, it's not a game. I would have rather have watched it. Honestly, talking about gaming and YouTube, I wish that someone had done just a playthrough, a silent playthrough of that game, not dying a single time, just playing it well enough, and then I could have watched it, and I would have gotten the same experience from playing it.
I think those channels actually exist. So they're.
But when it came out, I didn't realize
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the game that it was, and I would have preferred it in that method. I wish I could have put a DVD in, and then.
Slot it away.
So you already said Last of Us, so I don't know. That was mine.
Yeah, who do you want to anger now?
I will say I did finish The Last of Us, and I didn't finish Uncharted 4. So I don't know that it was overrated because I wasn't expecting to be. What did you think? What did you think that I was gonna say? Oh, okay.
How do you feel about Uncharted 1, 2, and 3?
I played all three of those. They felt like fun, interactive, and like little roller coasters kind of things. I don't think that they like revolutionized gaming in a lot of the ways that people give them credit for. But yeah. That being said, the performances in those games are fantastic. Yeah. Like the graphics and the fidelity of it, but I don't know. Yeah, that's the performances.
So
Yeah.
like all the elements that make a great game are there.
Minus the whole shooting and running and jumping. I wasn't crazy about it.
All right, so good. I'm actually really impressed that we got through that without making it like you were actually pretty agreeable.
You have to do it.
So now tell me what your
Here we go. Get your pitchfork.
Yeah, no, actually, well, you already.
Let's like 3 favorite games, 3 most overrated.
No, I mean Earthbound was already taken. I've been very upfront that Earthbound is far and away like one of my favorite games. Mother 3 also is a fantastic follow-up to it. So beautiful.
So many tears.
I like was a wet, soppy mess at the end of both of those games. So if you've never played them, actively seek them out. They're brilliant. They are like the epitome of what makes gaming so awesome. For probably a more known title, I guess, I've always been a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 3, actually. I'm working on a theory about it right now, actually. That's top secret for everyone in the room. Yeah. And you just leaked it out to everyone. Thanks so much. Is there no privacy anymore? There's not.
I in fact got you earlier. And then you leaked your top 10 list.
I know, seriously. Chrono Trigger is another one of my phenomenal game, like the pinnacle of RPGs in my opinion. And then least favorite, or most overrated.
That's a kind of hate the player, not the game situation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you can't hate on mine.
Minecraft is like saying, I don't like blocks.
Right? Literally a world where like you can build a working computer in Minecraft. You gotta respect that. No, so for me, what? FNAF? No. Let's real quick, let's talk FNAF, which is, I think FNAF is one of the most, and I talk to a lot of game developers. You know, we have our channels that we run, but we also have a consulting half of what we do. And we talk to a lot of game developers to help them, figure out how do you, find success on digital video platforms, what does it mean to be a YouTube gamer, things like that. And I always point to the example of FNAF, because the question that never got answered earlier, which is what's the difference between a good game and a good game to actually watch online. FNAF is brilliant because what helped that game take off, not only was it like jump scare-tastic and everyone likes to watch other people get scared and have those authentic, like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaked out. But what made it so brilliant, and especially what I love about it as a theorist, is the fact that each individual player had a different experience when they played through that game the first time. There are certain screens and images and Easter eggs that certain players saw and a large percentage never did. Like the first appearance of Golden Freddy blew everyone's mind. My game crashed, what's going on? Or what was that weird ghost animatronic that showed up? And it encouraged people to go online, share their experience, talk about it, and start trying to put this puzzle together in a way that not many other games have done. And it was a really forward-thinking concept of, hey, we live in a digital age where a walkthrough is literally online before the game even hits the shelves. And so here's a game where we're not giving you all the pieces, but we're encouraging you as a community to talk and figure it out together. That's really exciting. So that's my thought on FNAF. I think it's brilliant. I think that, when you release a lot of games in a very short amount of time, that it's harder to see that brilliance.
I don't want to derail your answer,
Yeah,
but
It
can
sounds like it's a void.
can I ask you a question, and you can choose not to answer it.
Who is the purple guy?
No. Granted, I haven't done much research into this.
Yeah,
It's just something I think about a lot more than I probably should. But
Welcome to my job.
do you think that Scott Cawthorn had all like the mythos and the lore planned before he made, or do you think that after he made the first game, he went, I can capitalize and...
So he definitely had certain elements. I think that what he underestimated was the veracity of the fandom, like literally picking apart every single detail and like counting the number of toes on the animatronics and all of these like really deep lore things that, you know, when you're just and it's the same thing if you're creating a video too. You can only think through so many contingencies or whatever. A good example of that actually from us is we did the Game of Thrones episode recently on film theory where we're calculating could the dragons fly this fast and how would you do that? And we said, oh, all the characters are twice the size. And everyone in the comments are like, no, they're not. It's canon that the mountain is 8 foot 8 inches tall. And so everyone's like, oh, this theory is garbage. And that's always really sad because we do so much research. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But it's one of those things that we had looked at. We had looked at all the other main characters' heights, and nowhere was it said like, oh, here's a canon height for this one character. It was the mountain, who was like an ancillary character, secondary, whatever, and like we had checked 20 other ones, and so it's just like, oh, that one thing. And I think that's what Scott Cawthon found himself in, where he knew that this was going to be about a haunted pizzeria that shut down, and bodies of children got stuffed into suits, and there was like a creepy killer security guard. Like I think that he knew all of that.
But maybe the more nuanced details.
Exactly, right. The nuanced details, and then when the audience was actively looking for answers to that stuff, I think he didn't really have it, and he tried to kind of work his way into it, but that just ended up complicating things more. And I think at this point with Sister Location and the books and stuff, there's so much in the mix now that it's kind of like very, very difficult to parse through what is it in canon.
Thank you. Now tell us the games you hate.
Game that's overrated. Oh man, all the cameras are.
You had some
It's actually Crash Bandicoot. Sorry, I'm actually doing a deadlock about this.
Did you hear what Lawrence just said?
No, what did you say?
I have a notepad of rambling thoughts of why Crash Bandicoot isn't good.
Yeah?
It's something that pre-existed what you just said.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see, here we go.
So here's the thing.
Crash Bandicoot is a blunt conversion of Mario into 3D. So Super Mario 64 is the divine interpretation. So it's like, if you have a 2D game that's scrolling down and you're like, let's make it 3D, then you just make it like a hallway. And then you just run back and forth, it's 3D. But that's such a non-inventive way of thinking about 3D. Super Mario 64, and to James's credit, hit the reality of that way before Crash Bandicoot and before anyone else. So it's like, we're kind of waiting for that game for VR to get blown up in that way, where it's not just, oh, it's 3D, but you can look around. That's a lot of VR now. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot is like, what is Mario in 3D? Well, that's it. Cool.
Bandicoots are great animals. I think they're fantastic. They're much better than koalas. Okay. Let me clarify since subtlety doesn't break. Bandicoots are much better from a survival evolutionary perspective. They're not as cute as koalas, but they should probably survive longer, okay, based on natural selection. And if you're wondering why I think that Crash Bandicoot is slightly overrated, that's a shameless plug for the game, not the game theory, the Deadlock that's coming out in like 2 weeks or whatever. Because I love platformers. Can you tell that I love platformers? I love platformers. And Crash Bandicoot just, I didn't play it until the Insane Trilogy came out. Like, so it was one that I'm like, I heard about this game, I missed a lot of the PlayStation era. I'm so excited to play this game, and it just let me down on so many levels, which I talked about in that episode. But like, it broke so many of the fundamental rules of good level design and good platforming design. Look, there's one person that's
Man, I don't know what it's not. Naughty dog.
So, right, and then it's
Technically great. Technically great. It runs very well. Like, it runs better than the PlayStation game had a right to.
Yeah.
You guys love
But,
it.
why does he have a neck?
So,
You know that?
why does he wear pants? Who knows? So we got 15 minutes left in the panel, so we should probably open up the questions. Can we do that? Is that a thing that we can do? Here comes.